South African National Christian Forum has filed papers at the Johannesburg High Court to challenge the closure of churches. The forum says it's an infringement of its rights and wants government to review the decision. Forum President Bishop Marothi Mashashane joins us this morning from Johannesburg. A very good morning to you, Bishop. You are saying that the closure of churches is irrational and unconstitutional. What do you mean by this?
Good morning and thank you for having us online. We feel that it is irrational and unconstitutional because the government have failed to apply consistency on its rules. It doesn't really make sense to say somebody going to church will be exposing himself or herself to the transmission of disease, while going to casino for gambling or going to a cinema for entertainment is not prohibited. Meanwhile, on their gazette, they said all gatherings, including religious, are prohibited. But in the same regulation, contradictory, they are declaring casinos, cinemas, gyms, and restaurants to be allowed. And we are of the view that the only discrepancy between those other sectors and the religious sector is simply that those are contributing to the GDP, and therefore the church is discriminated based on the lack of funds. So in other words, there is no equality. Constitutionally, yes, because the Constitution demands that all people are equal before the law, and the same law should be applicable to all, and the same law should protect all. So it is under those reasons that we feel it's both irrational and unconstitutional.
Bishop, having said that, we do know that large gatherings are a problem with regard to the spreading of COVID-19. Are you confident then that if churches were to be open, that you would be able to host church services successfully and responsibly?
Thank you for the question. But let me start by saying, remember, this is not just going to be a test. Should we granted a leave? It's not that we are going to test whether the churches will conduct themselves, will comply. They have already demonstrated that. On our previous level 3, churches were allowed to open and at least operate on the maximum of 50 people, and were given strict precautions that need to be followed. And the churches have proved the compliance. We had a meeting with the Premier of Gauteng, David Makura, who appreciated and applauded all the religious leaders because there is no trace that shows that it is from the church. Churches have now even appointed compliance officers. They check your temperature. They register your details. Inside the churches, there is the mark. There is 1.5 meter distance from each other. So how can really, logically, somebody think that a church which is only opening once in a week for a maximum period of at least 2 hours can be a risk compared to a casino, a gambling, or a cinema, which is opening for the whole day until when curfew kicks in? We believe that the pandemic does not have a discrimination to say the purpose of gathering, if it is for religious, then we are there to spread. But only if it is a gambling or for benefit of money, therefore the spread will be locked out. it doesn't really make sense.
Bishop,
For that reason that we emphasize is rational.
all right, Bishop, I'm going to jump in because, we are running out of time. I want to ask a twofold question. Firstly, I just want to hear from you what the repercussions are of church services being closed to service workers. And then also, we've seen a lot of people worshipping from home. Is this not a viable option for you?
It is not. Firstly, let me indicate that since the government is not only saving lives but also saving livelihood, we've got these religious workers. We call them religious practitioners. Can be a pastor, can be a prophet or so. These people, they are working in the ministry. Their earning, their income is based in the ministry. So that means when churches are closed, they are suffering. Some of them, as I'm speaking to you, have been evicted from their rental residential. Number two, when government offer a relief to all other sectors when they make a lockdown, they never offered any relief to the religious sector. And number three, when our members are applying for the UIF, they don't qualify. When they apply for the unemployment relief of only 350, they are also declined. So which government will really look after the religious sector? Religious sector, it is also a sector that is putting bread in the table of their children. Schools are about to open. Who's going to pay for their school uniform, stationery, and the school transport? Because no income, but government doesn't even communicate with us when they make a decision. But when they announce, they will say, we have spoken to the religious leaders. Who are they?
All right, thanks, Bishop. Thank you very much for your time. That is Bishop Marothi Mashashane. He is president of South African National Christian Forum.